Okay, if everything went according to plan, this should be live. We should be trying to talk. It's not episode 31. I think it's like episode 33, but I'm too lazy to change that number. So here we are. Again, I'm going to be your host, Frostgrid. My panelists are going to be Raz underneath me, Drexen next to him, and then Kelsey Moser on the far side over there. Did anyone do a tweet? Did we tweet?
No, I was just about to say that.
Okay.
But,
Drexen?
okay, there's one. There's one. Yeah.
There's one? Okay.
Good
job. Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
So today's structure, I want to talk about primarily five teams. I know you guys wanted to talk a little bit about World Elite, but I'm like, who really cares? We're going to talk about 5 teams. We're going to talk about OMG, LGD, Invictus Gaming. No. And King.
We still care.
I had to watch their game, so I care.
No. We're going to talk about 5 teams, OMG, LGD, Starhorn Royal Club, IG, and King. And the reason why I want to talk about these teams in particular is identity, upsets, and standings. Because I feel like this week's games kind of gave us a more overall clearer picture of kind of where the middle of the standings are. Because it's always been like EDG, OMG, LG. Like, that's, everyone's fine on that, we're solid. But then as soon as you start getting to
Really?
fourth,
They gave us a clearer picture because I'm more confused than I've ever been.
they gave us the 4th place spot. People be like, oh, okay, it's Snake. And then as soon as you get into 5th, you're like, am I flipping a coin? Does everyone pick a number? Are we taking turns?
No, I want Frostgrid to explain how the standings are clear now.
Okay, just a little bit more. I actually think that, I don't even know. I want to put IG there, but I'm just like, does Starhorn want to be there? Does IG want to be there? Does LGD want to be there?
We gotta hit up the teams and be like, where do you guys want to be rated? That's like Chinese money, son.
Okay. First set we're going to talk about, though, is we're going to talk about the most important one. It was OMG versus LGD. I know, I could see on your faces, you're like, which one was the most important?
I was actually like just hoping it was that set and nothing else. I was like braced in anticipation for like a full second. Just like, this better be OMG versus LGD.
For those of you who didn't see the set, it was split 1-1. OMG lost the first game, and then in spectacular fashion, Cool got really upset, and they won the second game. And what I particularly like about this set, just to kind of like recap it before you guys go into the gritty details, is the Ahri trade-offs. First game, Wayless gets Ahri, and Wayless just is a god. Of course, like, Imp went 17 and, like, won something ridiculous. Everyone's like, oh my god, Imp this carry. But, I'm personally on the Wayless train. He was, like, in the back line blowing people up. Second game, OMG first pick Ahri, and you could just tell in lane. Cool was, like, up in Wayless's face. Like, I dare you to do something, motherfucker. Like, just come here.
Yeah. And then if anyone's watching the Chinese stream, I like to have both open.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Kelsey's a better person.
Oh, whoa.
No,
I
I'm just
watched
kidding.
the
It actually-
Chinese stream and the English stream.
Woo!
Just
Support.
probably like in some like massive computer room, just like with like 2 massive monitors on both sides.
Yeah,
of them.
everyone's like, you should watch LCK and LPL at the same time. I'll watch LCK later because I can use my 2 monitors to watch LPL now. So bad. Okay. But his face was like really intense. But at the end of the series during his interview, he looked ridiculously happy. So
You're
I
talking
guess
about
that's
Cool.
that. Yeah, I'm talking about Cool.
Okay. Which one's better?
I want to say, honestly, damn. During the set, I want to say it was LGD. Because I felt like LGD were smarter, and I think for the most part their lane matchups are pretty good. And for the most part, like OMG's like specialty is the fact that they can just kind of, we said it before, just brute force things. But now that LGD kind of has the power to combat that, and also the strategical edge, I think that LGD was better. I think LGD was a lot more clever too. Like, it looked like OMG was just providing this like vending machine of gold to Wayless because of the way they just like fed him 3 kills at 7 minutes. But a lot of it was actually just because like of how smart their deep warding was and how well they utilized their deep warding early on in that game. And I think it's like little stuff like that to get an edge over teams. It just shows that they're just like really intelligent. So overall, I do think that LGD played better in this set.
The one thing that I want to do as like devil's advocate, because I know that Kelsey and I were talking about LGD's warding, and I agree there was a very clever deep ward. I'm not even going to give you clever. There was a pink ward.
There was a ward. OMG had no wards. There's like we're not even saying clever.
But they did have wards. They had them in the river.
Not...
My only thing is that Ahri is so broken on this patch.
Well,
like,
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but no, I don't even think... Did North
But
America
still
play her on this patch? I know
win
EU did.
NA did.
Yeah.
A few times.
So that's like why I'm a little bit hesitant, because it's no... Like, to me, it's no surprise that Ahri completely destroyed both games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if Wayless is a good Ahri, then we also just, kind of tag that on OMG's drafting? I mean, I don't know.
That's the other thing. Like people were talking about, Cool was just so good both games, but his Azir's team fighting was not good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was the other thing. His ult actually threw people on UZI. Like,
You think that was an accident.
people were like, Cool was so good the first game, if Leveling and UZI had just stepped
Wait,
up.
people
it's like,
actually
are you
thought
serious?
that Cool was good? He ran
Yeah,
on
because
like
he-
0-0-0 for like
Because
45 minutes of that game.
No, this is the thing. Because he out-farmed Wayless in lane, despite Wayless getting 3-0, people thought that Cool still played really well the first game.
Okay, let's do a little bit math. Let's do some math. I love math. Okay. For every kill that you have in League of Legends, it equates to between 12 to 15 CS. So unless you have, at that point, like a 40 CS lead on someone who has 30 kills...
Yeah, but the point is that he should be getting bullied or whatever. You know what I mean? But the thing is
on
it doesn't... I know. It does.
Ahri versus Azir doesn't really work well for Ahri. I mean, she can kind of do it, especially now because she has more movement speed, so she can kind of dodge around the sand soldiers.
It doesn't
initially,
matter. I'm saying that this is why people think that he played well. Like...
Oh, because he had a winning matchup and he didn't do anything for 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I do think that. So I'm not saying that Cool is completely awful as a player. Obviously, I still think he's right now posting games that make him look like the best mid laner in China, but his Azir was not. His Azir was not good.
It just comes down to a lot of players kind of pulling out champions in which they haven't shown much comfort on. And you're seeing a lot. You're seeing it a lot. And I guess they have the ability to do that based on how many games there are in the split, especially with top tier teams where they just feel like, well, we've given ourselves a comfortable lead out of the pack. They've seen the competition, so I think they get the freedom to do that, to really just Azir is one thing, and you're probably not going to see him next patch either anyway, so it's yeah.
I agree with that. It's not only in the mid lane. I mean, obviously, it's no surprise that LGD stopped playing Kalista and are now playing Graves. Of course, UZI picked Kalista the second game, but I actually really like Graves as an answer to Kalista.
Yeah, me too. Oh my god, dude. And also... Not to mention that this also shows how UZI is super flaky in the regular season. It's something that people don't see when he just goes to Worlds and performs every single game.
Well, it's because, not just. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Oh no. I mean, I don't really have too much to say after that. It's just the fact that he can slip around in early. He got crushed in the first game. Imp just fucking juggernauted all over him. I mean, it was, I don't know, man. It just shows he did really good in the second game, but in the first game it was what are you doing with your life? Please.
The other thing is that OMG does not know how to peel for their AD carry for the most part. I mean, they had comps that peeled for Sand, but they were really, really straightforward. Protect the AD carry comps when Sand got peeled. You know what I mean?
They ran Maokai support.
Yeah, but that was the again. Obviously, that's the thing. That's the thing they ran the second game. The first game, they in theory had better peel. They had Maokai top lane, they had they had a Azir, but there was not any peel for UZI at all the second game. It was okay.
Yeah, but the second game was the game that UZI did well.
I mean, first game, excuse me.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, right. There was not they didn't peel for him well in fights, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to and UZI is used to having every single peel in the game at his disposal, right? Yeah. So I don't know. It was just weird. I think that that's a big problem that they have. I actually even have the theory that they let him play Vayne once a set just so he can learn that he will never ever get Peel. But it's just, it's weird because I think that they don't know how to play with him yet still. And that's troubling because we're almost done with the first half of the split right there. There are only 6 best of 2s of the first round in week 6, then round 2 starts. So
it's 11 weeks in LPL and we're on week 5, or we just finished week 5, so we're technically just underneath the halfway mark.
Yep. Halfway mark starts after the break.
I don't know. I think they do to a point. Like how they utilize him. It's okay. How they utilize him in team fights completely horrible. Like I can agree with that. I can attest to that. But like how they utilize when he's on Sivir.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
the
just
thing.
decide.
Sivir.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a 1v0 usually. So I mean.
Yeah, and
that's the problem with gauging Sivir like lanes and stuff. Just because well, it's actually hard to gauge bottom lanes in general now. Just because everything's so like focused on like pushing out the lane and then having the support roam. So I don't know. But I will say that I don't know. I feel like I like watching LGD play, and I do think they're smarter, especially because I think they force the team to have decent wording to play against them. Because like I think they've come to the point where they just accept that like Chuen is not going to be amazing on his own, so they always just like gank with him. So they just like roam together, and
yeah, they either send like Chuen or Wayless with him.
Yeah. So
I mean, not Chuen, PYL, who I don't know. He's still underrated. Like, even though people have started to acknowledge him, he's still underrated. He's, like, really great.
Well, you have to think that anytime LGD does something intelligent, like when they are a creative team, it's on PYL.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I do
100%.
Yeah.
PYL and BBSY.
It makes me think he's probably the best support in China, like by a pretty decent margin. Even with, I mean, it's hard for me to say that, Joe, just because of the situation other supports are in, like Zero with like fucking HYY and Wei, and I don't know, man. That makes it hard, but.
This is the thing, like, that Zero was really good at one support style, right?
Yeah.
And I said this even last year, is he's really good at one support style, which becomes irrelevant when his AD carry is bad.
Yep.
Which I gotta say, like, for people who want to see like amazing support play, that game 2, Vici Gaming versus LGD was godly. I was the most excited I've ever been on like Twitter or anything else, really. If anyone is in my room, at the time, I was like, I didn't even know you could do that. Or at least
oh yeah, that was this week too. That's right.
Yeah.
So both OMG and LGD went 3-1 this week.
And just it was a beautiful thing to watch because not so much. Oh god, I just feel so bad for Mata. I feel so bad for him because he doesn't have much.
What, you're not saying that?
He has materials equivalent to AMP to work with once again. But
and for people that are confused about my support rankings, it's not that I don't think Mata is like a more established and successful support. It's just that like he is not playing like his Korean Mata self. So
Are any of them?
Yeah, no, they're not. But that's what I mean. Like people are gonna watch and be like, "What the fuck is in that region?"
I think Deft and Fawn are actually playing better than they ever played. But because
Deft's playing really well. I don't know about Pawn.
Deft is playing well.
I mean, Pawn was just like kind of a meh. He would like do okay.
No, you couldn't say that. You could not say that. This is what I actually get like pretty heat about. Is that a year
I feel
ago,
like in the context of Korea, like Pawn was just supposed to be there to be like reliable. That's what he did.
In lane.
Yeah. And
he was really reliable in lane, and then now he kind of he's here and there.
Now he goes off. So
well, yeah, that's what he did this split, and then he's now. I mean, it's not like he was ever a bad player. He's just now becoming more familiar with playing as a team. Like he's not just as one-dimensional, focus on like taking care of his lane kind of player anymore.
Yeah,
as he plays Vigar. And just walks into the jungle and kills people and walks out.
In EDG, and we didn't really want to talk about Edward Gaming, but they actually showed that they can, again, execute that old style. Of course, against it was Energy Pacemaker, but where they fall behind and they just, like, 5v5 really well, so...
Yeah, but you're just gonna like they're just better players across the board.
I know.
I'm not
I know
gonna
what you're
give that to
saying,
EG.
but
I
I watched-
understand what you're trying to say, but like Energy Pacemaker is so low tier team in the context of LPL that
I'm
get
sorry.
that, but they did that
oh,
against.
wanna go, Raz?
I'm sorry. Are you trying to say something about my boy Drizzle?
This is the
I
point
get
where
what
Aggressor
you're-
run up and take like Frost's headset off and talk about Amazing J.
Well, okay, they won 1 Dem 3. Let's go. Now, so the thing about
And M311 IG.
No,
and
but
IG
the thing is that
so
last
by
spring-
definition,
last spring, Edward Gaming did this against every team. It didn't matter. Like they did this against Positive Energy, where they would
And it-
like lose for the first 30 minutes and then come back. Like it
all
did,
you're
this
doing
was
is
their old
highlighting
style.
what's awful about them.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Well, I do
That's why I
understand.
didn't think Edward Gaming was a good team for like a really long time. Like,
Yeah. They know
they
how
were
to,
so
like, I think.
frustrating to watch, but they just kept winning.
Yeah. One thing I gotta say about energy pacemakers, I know we're not gonna talk about this, so I'm just gonna
Oh my
use
God,
this
look what you
nice,
did, Kelsey.
nice point to like slip in. Found a nice hole in there. Thank you, Base Moser.
Oh.
Hey, man. Wow.
What up?
He really
What?
likes Energy Pacemaker, man.
Oh.
No. I mean, no.
Really
Okay.
likes them.
I like him and then hate him at the same time, obviously, because of the whole Drizzle issue. But
OMG does, or Kelsey does that with a good team called OMG, and we're doing this with Energy Pacemaker right now.
the only thing I'm gonna talk about is the fact that I think Amazing J is hard carrying that team. Before he was like, he's kind of shit. But like he's doing really well. Drizzle is starting to make like in
He did
Raphael
really
is saying.
well against Looper.
That's true. Well, yeah.
How dare
yeah.
you bad talk, Looper.
the
And then
only
the second game, Looper didn't die at all, so I don't even think you can make that claim.
I just feel like the only thing that's wrong with energy pacemakers, and they can change their
This
jungler.
sentence is already going in a bad direction. Here.
No, please.
The one
Like,
quick
you-
fix. It's like great Chinese.
If we would just replace
Like-
all of their players.
And get them a new coach.
All I'm saying, you can change your mid laner. I don't give a fuck. You can change your jungler. That's a horrible idea, but like, you don't change the one reoccurring vector, and that's the horrid, like, Kane situation. Why is he still on this team? Like,
Why do
Excuse
you
you,
hate Kane?
when I read Kang's
I don't really understand.
bio on, what is it, LOL Sport, Esportspedia, that one?
yeah.
That he has an abundance of achievements. He's challenger on 3 different servers. He won some sort of MVP award for some, like, I think there were probably 6 players in selection there. He has an established reputation, Raz.
Like, if you can.
Okay, I'm gonna go with
Okay.
you on this, Raz, okay?
Alright,
Kane is
alright.
not, like, the worst player on that team. I
He
will
is the worst
posit
player.
Kane is a better player for that team than Amazing J. Yeah, I went there.
Oof.
God.
I
Oof.
threw it down.
I don't think so, man. He will find a way. He'll pick
We're
a
arguing, like,
lane that
which team-
counters.
Which player is not
Okay,
the
okay,
worst player
time out.
in the
If we're
entire
gonna do
league?
this, we're gonna do it right. Okay.
Alright.
Energy Pacemaker, the shit tier team in LPL. Who is the better player on that team? The
Who
80
is
carry
not the worst
Kane
player?
or the top laner Amazing J, and who is more instrumental to the success? Kelsey, give me your bullet points and why. Raz, rebuttal. Kelsey,
Okay.
go.
Alright.
Because Amazing J has to have, like...
I said about Kane, not about Amazing J. You can't prop up a player by
Frost is
tearing
trying
down the
so
other
hard
one.
to bring order, and it's just not working. It's just like, oh, I can't hold these
Regardless
motherfuckers
of-
on their leashes.
Regardless of, like, how poorly he does, he manages to have, like, some impact in the team fight, whereas Amazing J has to be ahead.
Yeah, but at least he can get the like. Okay, Amazing J will find a way to get ahead. Like there'll be times in which he isn't,
No,
but
he
more often
won't.
than not.
He
More
lost to
often than-
Looper today. He won Looper.
Looper
he
is
beat
a
Looper
season
in lane.
3 or season 4 world champion.
He does
All
not
I'm
play
saying-
like it.
I'm not gonna hold
Amazing
him
J
against that.
has above 50% of the time, more than 50% of the time, he will win his lane. Like
That's
he'll,
wow.
and maybe that's a,
More
like
than 50%.
Hey, that's not
That-
too bad
hey,
for a team that's like
that's-
bottom of the barrel
Do
standings.
you know,
That's
do you
better
know
than
who
their
didn't
Current
ever, like,
standings.
pretty much ever win lane in spring of 2014, Raz? Do you know
Who?
who never, which
Oh,
top
please.
laner pretty much
Koro?
never
It's
won
Koro.
lane?
It's Koro.
It's Koro. It's
Yeah.
Koro.
It's
Do you know
pro.
which team across the board pretty much never won lane in spring of 2014? Do you know which
TDG.
team was also second place during the regular season?
Raz, it's EDG.
Well,
Do
look,
you know
okay,
which
okay.
team
Right?
ended up destroying in playoffs?
I'm gonna say this.
I
With
don't
those
want
teams-
your lane nonsense anymore. I'm done with your
No.
lane.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. Because with those teams, they have some actual fucking team play. With energy pacemakers, they have we have laning phase, and then I guess we're gonna try and use our advantages in the laning phase to fucking just try
But
and
no, that's the
force
thing. I
annoying
think
team
Kane
fights.
is
They
like
have
the
laning
one
phrase and they have
player.
losing. Like that's it.
Kane
There's
is like
no in
the,
between.
the one
They have to
player
be-
who does something if he loses lane. That's
But like, he shouldn't be losing lane in
I
any
disagree.
of these. He
I
got
think-
owned by Candy. He got shit on by Candy. Holy shit!
yeah.
That
And then,
should never
he turned around
happened.
and then he turned around and he did well against Candy.
I like to imagine that Masters 3's fans, like, they tune in because they really want to see Dade, and then they look at the game like, this Candy guy is pretty good. I really like this bot lane. This is working for them because they are constantly being the consistent backbone for Masters 3, and I'm just like, this has gone so terribly wrong.
All I'm saying is Kane would be alright if he was on any other team that has some form of team play. On this team, he is expected to get an advantage in lane and then not sync. And that's something that doesn't happen with him.
I
Like,
disagree with both of you. Drizzle is the real carry of that team. Have you seen his playmaking ability early game? Tell me that he does not have 100% kill participation when EP are actually ahead.
Done talking about energy pacemaker. I
All I'm
can't
saying
believe Raz and I are like
The
getting
segment
heat
is so
about
long,
energy
man.
pacemaker.
Energy pacemaker.
I'm just so
Did this-
salty
did
that
this last
EP
season,
3-0'd, like, I'm so salty that EP 3-0'd fucking LD, Team LD. That should not have been a thing. But you know what? I can't even talk anymore because
I wasn't aware that this was LSPL talk.
Demacia Cup.
Demacia Cup. I was so.
Wasn't the
Let
finals.
Texas shit on them. Whatever. Okay, I'm done with that talk. So now back to OMG.
Now back to the see. I gave them a list. Like before the episode started, I was like, "We're going to talk about 5 teams," and then they like suddenly they all started throwing it. In. Can we talk about World Elite? No, we can't.
Why would anyone want to talk about?
And now we have like a 10-minute discussion on Energy Pacemaker. Relevant teams: OMG, LGD, Starhorn Royal Cup, Invictus Gaming, and
Okay.
King.
Okay, we're back.
Are we?
So, a couple of things. Are we just going to talk about OMG versus LGD or OMG proper?
What does that even mean?
OMG in general.
Okay. Talk to me about OMG in general, Kelsey. Get it off your chest.
Okay, so they actually had some things that were smart this week. They have to have one bad game and one good game, like every set. It has to happen. I have no idea why they do
Like,
this.
oh, this is like some contract. Like, save your sanity
It's
from
just
the
this
team
thing
that is
they
OMG.
have to do.
Like, this is why
Um,
they're losing, definitely.
And it's because of the draft, and I don't know why, because it's not like a consistent. Oh, they have a bad draft the first game and they make adjustments,
You're talking
or
about the Viban.
yeah, well, that's one thing, like the vibe band, but then also in the King set, like they had a good draft and then a bad draft.
Yeah.
I actually think okay, so people will look at the King composition that the composition that they ran against King, and they'll think that OMG was completely trolling, but that composition was actually really smart.
Label the competition for everyone. You can't just like make like you have to have.
It's like high mobility, get at the backline composition.
Okay, and who was in it?
So it had going on Hecarim.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
There was a lot of Hecarim.
Clear love.
People said that this was the year of the goat. All I saw was the year of the horse.
Well,
I think
the
it's
year
a
of the
ram.
horse is technically not over, so.
Oh, okay.
And then Loveling played Nidalee. Cool played. Was it Ari or LeBlanc? It's essentially the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
I think it was LeBlanc.
Yeah, it
and
was
It just kind of hops around and things explode.
yeah,
It used to build Deathfire, but now.
now the only now Cool just like destroys people with it. Yeah, okay. Sivir and UZI played Sivir. And then, of course, Loa played Maokai support.
Maokai.
Maokai. So the first thing you notice is that like most of those champions have
That's
a
not
ridiculous.
the first thing people notice, Kelsey. When people look at the composition, like, what the fuck, tree in the bot lane? Like, don't even
Most
kid
of those
yourself. No, it's like,
champions-
oh, Hector
Okay,
top.
so fine.
That's
I'll
really
address the
interesting.
Maokai first. I'll address the Maokai first. All 4 of the games that OMG played this week, they played against Rumble, and they picked Maokai. 3 of those 4 games, they had Maokai support.
Well,
The reason I think they picked Maokai because they realized that the only like meta top laner that Sky plays is Rumble, and a big part of his success is he has really, really good equalizers. Like that's how they beat LGD. Is Sky had good equalizers. That's pretty much it. So
but instead of
Maokai's-
banning it like a normal team,
yeah, instead of banning it like a normal team, we're like, we can play around this. But we don't want to put going on Maokai because then he can't like get
so
into
we'll
the back
cripple our
line
bot lane.
on a horse. So
That was the smash. He needs to get there on a horse. Like by foot,
to
it's
get
just
into
you're just not fast
the
enough.
back
You have to
line on
mount
a
this
horse.
bitch.
It's like who has the least game impact? You, Luo.
Yeah,
Take this champion.
and this is the other thing about Maokai support, which is the only reason, which is why I think like OMG is like one of the only teams ever that could run it, is because it relies on the fact that Law cannot hit his skill shot, so he needs like some kind of bind
They've
or
been
some
trained
kind of
for this. This is what Dota 7 was for.
Like, this
it's
is the
just
thing,
been like
and-
a yearly thing. They're like, okay, we just gotta get these really shitty supports over and over and over again. Continue. Kelsey.
Yeah, usually the really bad support is Dota 7. Just under different names, but they. That's the punchline. Dota 7 got plastic surgery. No, as I've said already, Law is not as bad as Dota 7.
We
Okay,
can rebuild him.
he's okay. But
No, I just like. Did they have this conversation where they all sat down at dinner and they're just like, okay, we gotta
you
figure out something
can't
to do
hit a
with.
sk- you
with
can't hit a
Rumble.
skill shot.
No, they're just
Honey.
like they're planning about Rumble, and
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah.
this crazy meeting. All their support staffs there, the players are there, and like, okay, we could either ban
All
it,
20
or
of their players.
we could
Yeah,
pick Maokai.
and it works because it's like this very specific, and obviously I don't think it worked the second game because King ran Janna Azir, and so that's why they had a lot of trouble closing that game in part because their Maokai support was like getting shoved away all the time. But I think that they wanted to counter Rumble, but they didn't want to put going on Maokai because he doesn't have as much of a game impact. So I think it was pretty smart. And
Except they could
every
have just
time,
banned Rumble.
and every time, but then you don't understand. Lo would still have the problem where he can't land a skill shot. So like the only champion he can play is Annie or Maokai. But then he would every time they laid down a Rumble ult, he would be immediately on top of it with like.
I don't
his
think he planned to be
ultimate.
immediately there. I think he was just kind of there.
No, but I think that was the purpose, though.
No, that's
so.
obviously the purpose because you're trying to minimize the AoE of the Rumble Ultimate. I get that, but I'm not saying that it was this support player's amazing Maokai player that put him in the middle of the equalizer. I'm pretty sure that he was just
Don't be so
naturally there.
mean to Law. He can't land skill shots, but
Don't
he's not
be
awful.
mean to Lua.
Law.
I'm gonna be
No.
mean to every single
Be-
OMG support
okay.
that's not Cloud.
Be mean to him, but be mean to him for the right reasons. Like, he played Maokai pretty well.
He can't position, he can't hit skill shots, he has a champion pool of 2, which consists of Annie and Maokai. In the support position.
Yeah, but you don't need skill shots for those.
Yeah, that's
fine.
the thing. So, yeah, it worked fine. And the rest of the team comp I actually like a lot. It's really cool because with Hecarim and Sivir, like the synergy there, you can't protect the enemy team cannot protect their back line. It's just gonna get like dove on. And then like the mobility that LeBlanc and Nidalee provides, and Loveling's Nidalee against LGD is really really underwhelming, but I think he actually played it well against King. So yeah, I mean that game ended in 23 minutes to put it in perspective. Like it was really good.
God, can I take that? Okay, no, let's just go into the next team. I was like, can I take this time
Just-
to talk about King?
Yeah, just bitch about Lonely's Nidalee.
Jesus Christ,
He
he needs
didn't
to
play
stop
Nidalee
playing.
in that. At least in that game, he didn't play
I'm not talking
Nidalee.
about that set. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about King in general. If we're gonna talk
King
about
in
King,
general.
which they're on it, we have to talk about Nidalee.
Okay.
Okay.
So King is a fucking team that just like makes me sad because like
Best
they're
introduction ever.
they're in the process of trying new picks. That's just and they shouldn't be because they've lost a lot of games.
I love how
So
they do it
maybe-
in like really
They're
important
bottom
games
4.
too. It's like
Like,
They're bottom
King-
4. They
King
need to
is
start
bottom
winning
4.
games. Like they need to start playing seriously. These are very important games in which they should be playing against. Like especially Invictus Gaming. So I think after some time you're like, I need to put this champion back in the factory, in the scrim factory. We're gonna work on it a little bit. And it's like I can just imagine Lonely being like, no, we're playing it again, and the rest of his team, just like, especially Wushin, just fucking just the sadness on his face, because Wushin and Lei have been performing super fucking well in every single one of these games. Maybe there's I don't know, and it's
Except for
like
that one game where Tail went 12-0 and 13.
yeah, that one is an exception. I look past that game.
I have the blinders on. I see no evil.
Well, like he's been playing so well, and the rest of his team, just shit the bed. Sky playing,
Nar.
putting on his best shy impression, playing Mundo, and like that's a new pick of him for him as well. But like, and then his Nar play was so
Okay.
bad. That's when I realized it was like, yeah, he had. This is the reason why he hasn't been playing Nar, and
Yeah,
I guess he has.
before that, and it was
Yeah, that's true, I guess. And it's just everything about him. Like, okay, his Gnar, his Mundo, just fucking just throw that one, throw it in the. Just play it in scrims. Practice it, please. Practice it more. And the worst thing about it too is he's always coming out with skins. By the way, so it's like give him the aura of like having played this champion a little bit. No, he hasn't played it enough. And then you have MLXG with Nidalee, and I've been talking a lot about Sky in his picks, but like his Mundo pick was fine. It's Sky. It's MLXG, man. Lonely has not been playing well at all with his Nidalee. Jesus, he is.
played it in half of their games this week, so.
Yeah. He's
And
just
to
horrible
make it
in
even worse, Lonely and Lei are the leaders, captains of that team.
Yeah.
So like if a Nidalee pick's coming out, chances are that MXLG said, we're playing this champion.
Yeah.
So just think about that one.
And he's
And
forcing
you
the
have to
pick
think
so hard.
The Nidalee bait is like, okay, the damage, the damage exploit in Cougar form, if you use like a human ability, is really good. So it's like bait for these junglers who have never played a champion like that before, and then they can't handle it. Yep.
It's a sad time.
Can't
with
And the
handle
Nidalee.
Cougar.
Viban!
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know what to say about this team. I think King's gonna bring it up. Like they're gonna bring it together.
No,
come
No, I abandoned that ship. I'm jumping on Gamty as they
Okay,
race
but I've
up.
abandoned
I'm not
them in
gam-
the
no,
season.
both of them are gone. They're done.
No, I don't know. Yeah, they're tied in the standings right now, aren't they?
Yeah. Get
Okay.
some.
Yeah.
Gamty's sneaking into the playoffs.
No, I
They're
think
done.
I don't know. My hope is that Gamty at least shoots for 8th. And
They can't
And
both
then-
shoot for 8th.
I'm not. I never. Hey, I never said I was on the Gamty train. That was just Frost. I don't give a shit about Gamty.
Rude.
But no, I want King to succeed because I've seen their off-season performance, and it's so annoying that people get to see this like really shitty King.
No,
And
I
the
mean-
thing is like they haven't been able to adapt to LPL. Like I don't know if it's like a mental fortitude thing. I know they're like trying to play more meta shit, and like that's a recent development. But they all just look so uncomfortable. Like they don't have it together yet. Their jungler sucks balls, and I
Sky
don't know.
played Aurelia this like the last game of like why did he wait until the 6th game to play Aurelia? Because he was like amazing on Aurelia.
Yeah.
Again, I don't understand. And then Assassin can play Ari, and he played Ari. So why didn't you play Ari for like the entire week? Oh, that was weird.
they're just making so many bad decisions, and like they're just they still haven't been playing like they do in as they did in the off season, and it's really frustrating to watch because it reminds me of World League Academy almost. Like how they had this like distinct style. Like,
No, because
dominated,
World Elite
and-
Academy, I could tell was like not a good team.
Yeah, well, no, of course, and I've said that before. Like, it's a hard comparison to make because King actually has shown that they can do good against these top tier teams, not just like this speculation about their LSPL performance or whatever. But it's kind of like the same in terms of like how they're reliant on the snowball and then transitioning into a lead. But lately, all that's happening is they're going like even early or worse, and then they just have no idea what they're doing for like the last 20 to 30 minutes of any game. And I don't know, it just makes no sense.
They're not like making the creative early game plays, the grouping, the team play is off.
Yeah, it's
There's
like-
no
It's
wording.
like, yeah, I understand the need to go meta when you're like playing at like a top tier level in like a strong league and stuff like that, but it's like I don't know. It's like they're playing like way too straight edge, like way too safe. Like they're like I don't know. It feels like maybe they're trying to like force themselves to like play by the books or something like that, and it just doesn't work out for them. And I don't know. That's what it feels like they're doing like every single day or every single match. And it's the team essentially has lost its identity. That's why like even though I really liked watching them in the off season, I was really hoping for them to be top 3, top 4 this split. I've kind of like I'm kind of nonchalant about them dropping off just because they don't like Team King is just like Team King by name now. They're not like Team King by the way they were Team King in the off season. So
They made a name for themselves, and then they just kind of like jumped off of that name. They just
And it
jumped
wasn't
off that
just
cliff.
And it wasn't just like observers and fans making these speculations. If you talked to like top tier team managers and stuff, they said, "Yeah, King is good. We can't beat them at scrims," like stuff like that. So I don't know. It's weird, but though I don't put any credence to Chinese scrim results either. And I used to like argue with them about this actually, but I don't know. It's weird.
Gamty.
Yeah.
Speaking of scrim results,
Gamty.
Gamty does well in scrims. That's all we'll say. But the thing is though that like these all Chinese teams like King and OMG could. I'm not gonna say Gamty because they don't play like this, but could. No, they don't. No, they don't play like this style because these teams like Invictus Gaming with these two Koreans are slowing down. Like Starhorn's slowing down. Some of these mid-tier teams with two Koreans are really slowing down their game pace. Vici Gaming, Master 3, even Snake are really slowing down their game pace and game pace and just like playing the lane.
But that's
being
because
super
hyper
safe.
carries are more prominent, not necessarily that it has anything to do
But
with the hybrid
OMG and
roster.
LGD and EDG don't do this necessarily.
Okay, well, OMG's identity as a team has always been.
I know, but that's what we're saying about King too.
Oh,
That's
I
why
see
I'm
where
saying
it's going.
OMG and King. Like
I know, but
OMG
you're
and
trying to
King
make the
could
statement
seriously.
that hybrid rosters are slowing down their gameplay to make up for their lack of team
I think they
coordination.
are though.
I don't think that's
But-
true. The meta is just more like you have Cassiopeia, Kassadin, Azir, Ari, Callista, Tristana. All of these are
I think
hyper
it's-
carries that scale into the late game. Rumble is an itemization or
I get
a
that, but
power
you
spike
can
level
still like
champion.
make. But there's a definitive difference between like making some plays in the early game, like getting the deep wards or making dragon fights, and doing what they're doing, which is legit just like sitting in the lane. Like that's all they're doing because
Yeah.
they don't wanna risk like throwing anything away to try
Towers
to.
are more important than Dragon.
I
It's a
get
mix
that,
of-
but they're
yeah.
not even taking towers. They're just like being safe. It's like
It's- yeah.
it's so passive. Like I
It's a
watched
mix of
so
both.
many 50-minute games this week. Like
Yeah.
There
Uh,
are two.
like
So
this is
many.
the thing I'm talking about. Whereas like Starhorn will make a play early and they'll get the early dragon and they'll do this, but then they don't pressure it at all and they'll just like wait. Whereas I don't know. Like I feel like King and OMG maybe have an advantage in that they can execute some of this
I'm
stuff
not
and then
arguing
keep crushing
that
it.
that's like I agree. That's what they're doing it. I'm arguing on your reasoning of why. I think the reasoning of why is incorrect.
The reason why my reasoning is that is because LGD and EDG have much better team play and they're not playing that style.
But see, here's
But
the
that's
thing.
the
Here's
thing. That's literally
no.
the counterpoint of like it has nothing to do with these Korean hybrid rosters. Same thing with Starhorn World Club because Starhorn has had their
No, 'cause
Koreans
I think-
forever.
But they do. They make like these early plays, but then
Yeah.
they stop. Like
You
this
guys
is
are
the
like
thing.
not seeing. There's like a wall in between. You just gotta connect it because
Is she
it's
not
a mix
saying
of
that
both.
they slow
It's a
down
mix.
because of their
I
hybrid
think
rosters?
it's a mix of
But
both because
it is a
Invictus
massive
Gaming
mix of
didn't
both,
slow
guys.
down before.
Because
like
they're
Starhorn
like
World Club
yeah.
wasn't slow before. They
because the
didn't.
Starhorn
meta
World
wasn't
Club.
as it is.
But it's the same thing. Like okay,
The champion picks you just
Look,
listed
you
are
guys suck.
exactly the same as the champion picks that
you guys,
they played
you guys
last week.
suck. You You guys, let me
What?
just like.
Lucian
let me
is
just-
a mid-game power spike champion and
Oh,
was
wow,
played
guys.
20
No, then-
times in like one team in a single split.
I know. I said last week, not last split.
He said last year.
You guys both suck. Like it's it's
I like
obvious.
Raz's counter rebuttals.
You guys
Yeah.
both suck.
It's a,
King
No,
is
I
the
do
worst
think,
team.
I think the language barrier has like okay, IG in particular. I will say that I think the language barrier is a thing, or because they
No
did-
one is saying that the language barrier isn't a thing. That's like
No,
I'm,
I think
I'm
that's
never
what's
going to contest
helping
that.
them.
Just let
I
her
think
finish
that's
the
what's
point.
forcing them to slow down a little bit because originally they weren't a slow team. They were like trying to do stuff, and then the coordination was really sloppy, and they couldn't figure it out, and it was like they lost again
So
to
you're
Vici getting off
saying-
of it, and now they're
Invictus
playing
Gaming is
so
the perfect
slow,
example.
Ryan.
A
Like
mixed-
they're playing
A
so
mixed
slow.
language team is able to play one of the most complex poke
No, it's
siege
not a complex-
compositions.
No. This is the thing. Like, it wasn't complex because it wasn't contested at all. Like, there was no contesting of the poke composition. Like, there was no
Like,
contesting of it. Like, they didn't pressure it.
I don't agree with this. I don't
Invictus
think it has
Gaming is a
anything to
perfect-
do with their team or
IG
their
is a
team
perfect
makeup.
example.
The speed of the game. I think that's just the meta right now.
it's the meta, and it's also.
It wasn't the
certain
meta
teams.
last
Because
week
You'll
when they were
have
going
certain
The
teams.
patch change. We're on
Oh,
a completely
God.
different patch.
But
on,
the
people.
reason you cited it for being the meta is the champion picks.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting anywhere with this. That's pretty much where it is. Like,
Because
no, and
no,
IG
you
was
can't make
slowing
this
down
statement
last
because
week anyway. Like,
Starhorn,
IG was
Royal
slowing
Club,
down.
LGD, and EDG
Like, we
aren't
talked
doing
about
this.
how we talked about Invictus Gaming because they were better team plays at the start of the split. The
Dude, you
rest
guys
of
would
the
have a
teams
better
were not
conversation
good at
if you
team
talked
play.
about the time.
They were awful at team play, so they slowed down because they
Alright, both
figured
of you.
out that they could stay in lane.
you guys are like, at this point, it's not going anywhere. Just go to the next
Oh.
point. Jesus. Alright.
No, I think
So,
they're relevant.
It is relevant, but like,
Yeah,
it's.
it is.
And
Okay,
I'm not
Explain
saying that
explain
she's
to me,
wrong.
Brexit
I'm
and
not
Raz.
saying that it's completely not meta, but she's like saying, "Oh, it has nothing to do with the fact that they had bad team play."
I
That's not
didn't
what
say
it's
that.
like.
I said it has nothing to do with the fact that they have a hybrid roster.
I think
Today's
it does,
theme of
though.
China Talk, Jerry Springer.
God damn it, man.
I think it does, though.
These teams have Koreans on them, so they need to play a slower
No,
paced
okay,
game.
no.
That's literally
that's
what I'm
simplifying
getting.
saying that at all. I'm saying that the hybrid rosters that haven't figured out a communication system yet. Like, I'm not saying all Korean teams are like this. That's stupid.
Mhm.
You're
That's
literally
true.
thinking I'm stupid right now. Okay, let's
Like,
go.
you guys are making the same point in which you guys are making
No,
the
it's
same
not
point.
the same
because-
point. Okay,
No, no, it's-
Rosk is saying that Kelsey
I
is saying
understand.
that hybrid rosters
Yeah.
are just innately playing slower, but Kelsey's saying that it's only teams that aren't familiar with it. Well, Starhorn had a long time to actually develop a communication method that worked for them because they all already built a natural chemistry within the team, and then
I'll have an 80
but
carry.
these newer hybrid rosters don't have that same system, so they're playing slower. That's
Yeah,
what they're
but
both
it's-
trying to say.
but
She
it's
used
essentially the
Starhorn
same-
Royal Club as an example.
No, but it's essentially
Yeah,
the same
I think
because they
that
both
they're slowing down
realize.
because they're having communication issues and they're
It's
not
essentially.
pressuring.
But that's okay, no, but it's essentially the same point because
They're
both
not
realize, both people realize that, of course, both like the teams are not at the same level as they were last split because the team play is not there. It isn't because there are a lot of hybrid rosters. But now you're seeing a slowdown of the pace in the games because, of course, yeah, 100%, the meta has changed, in which you need the scaling compositions. The dragons obviously matter a lot later on, and so you have to build them up. And so you have to wait a lot more. And IG has done that, in which they've actually came out in the beginning of the split with the team compositions that have like favored snowballing. Like you see the rookie on
Fizz?
Yasuo and Fizz, and it's like, and then he just changed. It's like, okay, I guess I'm on
Still plays
Cassiopeia now.
those champions.
He does, but like he's favoring
He started playing
Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia.
It's the way in which he's playing them, though, that's
Yeah.
slower. Like, he's still
100%.
playing. He played Ari and Yasuo, which are both snowball champions, like in the
Hmm.
last set that he played. It's not that the champion picks have changed, it's just the way that they're being much more patient and they're not making as many early plays. Like, this is the thing that I'm putting on is they're not trying to execute early plays.
And so you have teams that will like obviously have the team play, have the level of team play, and they will get around the fact of the meta because they'll have a lead and they'll be like, okay, we'll just fucking take Baron. Or if you're not going to be able to like pressure anything, we'll just take Baron, we'll take a tower here, and that's the main thing that OMG has done well, as much as like I criticize them for, is because they're able to like convert their lead when they have a lead. The moment they realize they have a lead, they're just gonna push on anything they have. Like that's just what they will do, and it's a product of better team play. But in my opinion, it's like at the same time, it's probably more of a product of the fact that they can't snowball leads anymore because of the meta. So it's both, but which one you emphasize, it depends on, I guess. Nah, I think you have to emphasize it more in the meta. But like you both realize that, and that's why I think it's a point they really can't really get, like it's going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody stated their views
I
on their
think
opinions,
that
but-
like it has a lot more to do with because even the teams that are going slower have better team play than the ones that just sit in lane.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know.
ones that just sit in lane are your lower tier, shit tier teams.
IG sits in lane. They don't make any plays early game at all.
Yeah.
But I also think they
well,
make their
IG
strategy
played
work around
Nidalee,
that. Like
and
because
Nidalee isn't really well known for her early lane ganks, even though they supposedly got some of them off.
yeah.
But as a team, they're not making any plays.
Kelsey,
like you're
the
you're
champion
intentionally
pool
ignoring my
shifted.
point.
No,
You're
I'm not-
intentionally ignoring my point.
I'm not trying to intentionally ignore your point. I just don't think that the primary thing is their hybrid rosters.
No, it's not that their primary
damn it.
thing is hybrid rosters. It's that
Can
their
we just talk
communication
about
is
something
bad.
else?
Can you stop misrepresenting my words?
I'm not trying to misrepresent your words. I'm talking about hybrid rosters in terms of communication. Like, yeah, it's super easy to say that a team will not play as good as a team that can communicate good. Like, that's super obviously.
Oh man.
Okay, so with that being
Can we
said,
just move on?
yeah. So what's the next topic?
IG.
God.
No, I'm not talking about IG. Done.
Fuck IG.
All right. So
I-
basically, what happened with IG is they're ham and they ran a poke comp, so they're no longer ham, and that's pretty much what happened with IG. If we're summarizing it in like 20 seconds for Kelsey.
Hey,
But
at
no,
least,
seriously, it is weird because their identity used to be like this careless,
It's really aggressive.
yeah, really aggressive, really careless YOLO team, like the definition of Chinese aggression, basically. And
And they
they,
brought in the KT arrows, and it's
yeah,
like,
they looked like the most like kind of diverse and, well, not diverse, strategically sound this week. So I was looking for a new buzzword. You gotta
I-
rotate
yeah.
those.
Don't even agree with that either.
I think IG's
What's-
my new cat.
really?
I don't
Hello?
think they look the most strategically sound.
Well, no. I don't mean the
said
most, but
diverse.
I mean. Okay, if we're comparing old IG to new IG, it looked really. It's like interesting to see them play a poke comp because this is something they like almost never done before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Oh.
just not. Yeah, it's just not as completely ham. I mean, I don't know. I find it hard to talk about just because it's like I don't know if they're going to continue doing this, but it shows that they can and they can get results with it. So it's exciting to know that IG is less one-dimensional.
I think that if Starhorn Royal Club had pressured any kind of advantage at all, it wouldn't have worked. They didn't at all, so I was less impressed by the poke comp than a lot of people were.
they were
I
able
think-
to outmaneuver because it wasn't just a poke comp, it was a mobility-based comp because you had Jace there for the utility. Anytime you have Jace, it's going to be rotational, and that's what was impressive. Not just that you could just shoot missiles at towers, but because they could outmaneuver. And Starhorn Royal Club
Hopefully, not only at towers. We keep throwing spears at this tower, and they're
it
not
just won't
happening.
die. And not that Starhorn
I
Royal
don't-
Club has ever been like a super
Yeah, like, I
rotation
don't
smart
think-
based
I don't
team. But when
think outmaneuvering that team that played against, that wasn't impressive. Like, you're saying this is impressive, it's not impressive. Go ahead.
Starhorn is actually really good at just engaging on things, though, and they constantly.
No, they weren't. That's the
Okay,
thing.
Kelsey, shut up for a second. Starhorn constantly throughout that game would stand in random bushes, particularly around the mid area, because they were waiting for IG to either face check for a Baron or face check for a Dragon to put down vision. They did this on about 4 different occasions, but IG was superior in warding and just knowing where Starhorn were, outmaneuvering them. So I understand, Starhorn wasn't the best caliber of opponent, but Starhorn did what pretty much every other Chinese team would have done in like a situation like that. They stand in a bush and they wait. And IG outmaneuvered them. So I understand
Well-
that you're trying to say that IG's not as good because the caliber of opponent was like bad as opposed to them playing good, but they still played a pretty impressive composition with the language barrier. that like IG has historically never performed before, and that is important.
Yeah, I think it's the historical context. Like, yeah, okay, maybe their execution wasn't great, and a better team would have abused it. But I think the situation is just the fact that, I mean, IG. It's not like IG's new to experimentation in the regular season, right? But it was different in prior splits. Like, it was just champion pools and stuff like that. Like, usually
they have different coaches. They have different roster.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like,
The infrastructure is. I know.
IG is irrelevant.
No, but we have to talk about the historic context because the theme and the motif of this split coming up is identity. All of these teams figuring out who are we now. Like, and that sounds like really corny and over the top, but it's literally true across the board for everyone.
No,
it's
I agree,
for
but I'm
EG,
saying that in that context, IG's old identity, quote unquote, is irrelevant because they don't play like it at all.
It's a cool thing. It's a cool narrative, and we're China Talk. We not only talk about the analyzing of the games, but the narratives of the teams. This is why we like China.
Let's put it this way, okay? I feel like IG and OMG have kind of like switched in terms of how they play. Like, because OMG used to be the super strategically sound team. Actually, no, that's giving IG too much credit.
I don't think they were super...
Never mind.
Like, they had one game where they executed a poke comp, and that was it. Like, this week they weren't that impressive. Like, they split 1-1 with M3. They split
that was bad.
1-1 with King, and like both of those sets, they just played like
IG.
Random stuff.
Weren't we just talking about like historic?
All I'm gonna say is that
no, but it wasn't the same. Like they weren't playing like ham style or anything. They were just like
Kelsey, you know it's
doing random
Calm
stuff.
Down, please.
Any semblance of strategy is a massive step up from what IG used to be. So
I mean, just what I'm trying to say is that it's cool. It's cool because they literally always played the same way every game, despite their opponents in the past. And now it's cool that they're at least experimenting, even if it's against weaker teams, because it shows that they're trying to broaden their horizons rather than playing the same way over and over again.
Well, they have completely different coaching staff. They have, like, if you think about the two players they retained were Kid and Kitties, and those were, like, the least ham members of that team.
And I'm also really glad that Kid's, like, they're just throwing Kid on Ezreal over and over again. That's something else to talk about for IG. It's like, please, just keep letting him play that champion. I don't care what's in the meta.
He said in his interview he really likes it against Corki.
Isn't it, like...
That's always been the counter to Corki. It's always been the counter to Corki.
I mean, there's always been like other counters to Corki, but that's absolutely a good one.
It's Ezreal or Severe, and the only matchup that you can really pick Ezreal into safely right now, other than taking mid lane, is Corki.
He also said, like, Kid actually said some other entertaining things this week. He said they asked him in the series where they 2-0'd Starhorn Royal Club. He asked him, "Who do you think the MVP was?" And he said Pokemon. And they said, why? Because for once he didn't make any major mistakes.
God bless Pokemon, dude.
It's terrible. And then the other thing, like, while we're talking about experimentation and just, like, emphasizing the points that we've made before, they asked him, like, was it really hard to play 3 best of 2s this week? He says, no, it's okay. We just treat it like scrims.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's kind of the attitude towards the regular season, I guess.
God damn it. God damn it. Please. And okay, by the way,
I can't blame them. It's essentially what it is.
Especially anyone who's
such a wide amount of like players that can actually get into it. I don't know.
Yeah. And just for 2 points of like anyone wondering who Pokemon is and where he came from and why he's so bad, KX Happy. Yeah. Old KX Happy is where he's from. So I think that answers.
That bad as an LSPL team before.
Before they were horrible.
No, but they were like 3rd place in LSPL Spring.
Yeah, okay, but like it's all about this. It's all about the summer. Didn't they rotate their roster, or was it the same roster?
It was a different roster. Like they took it apart and put it back together. But yeah, I'm just saying that like historically, KX.
So historically, KX gets to retain their expectations.
No, because they still have the same infrastructure. They still have the same infrastructure. It's not the same.
And it's like they never have I seen a team have like a decent bunch of people and then just say, "Nah, we're changing this to like bunch of dumpsters, bunch of garbage cans."
They kind of
bring in the dumpsters.
Sold a lot of their roster to EP and did like a semi-merger.
Oh, okay. See, that makes sense.
Man,
Money.
I just love that
Trumps.
Energy Pacemaker has so many players but still manages to suck. That's just the best
Captain
thing.
57
They have
was
like, it's like
MKX happy.
I can't
It's like a
say
mini
this.
army, dude.
That's a good way of saying it. It's like a mini army.
I saved you.
Thank you.
It's not a slave trade, man.
I was gonna say cattle farm.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
EP, just disclaimer, EP was incredibly gracious. They're one of the organizations and clubs that I got to kind of peek behind the corners and figure out how they were working, and it was just like, this is what people don't understand. In North America, like, we have teams. Like, there are League of Legends teams. In China, there are League of Legends clubs. And a club is, like, an army of players. Like, they, at any point, have a disposal of so many players to contact. And I don't
Everyone
know.
looks at like the OMG army, quote unquote, that they picture like 9 of their players on screen, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, OMG has so many players." You have no idea.
You have no
Yeah.
idea. Like, it's just crazy. Like, when we were there, like, oh, do you need a mid laner, you need a jungler, you need a top laner, and then bam, like, the very next day, like, 4 players. It's like, where are you getting these people?
Oh, by the way, some people are asking who KXAppy is, and that's gonna derail the chat even further.
Okay.
But can I just make a very quick
Go
statement on
that. Spread your
Okay.
LSPL wings.
Okay.
And fly.
KXAppy is one of the many organizations you'll find in a beautiful land called LSPL. LSPL is a place that's actually quite competitive right now. Don't look at the old works of the LSPL, because even though as funny as it was, as funny as the production was, it's actually a lot better now. Production-wise and competition-wise, you'll see a lot of teams like ADG, who, like, during the Demacia Cup took a game off of Snake, 4th place team. Jab jab. So watch it. It's actually a really it's fun to watch.
We always
It's
go
good.
down this rabbit hole.
All I gotta say is that KXAppy used to be a dumpster team in the summer split. They are significantly better. They've just been rotating rosters. This split, they're a lot better. They might get through, if I'm remembering this correctly. They might get through group stages, but yeah, playoffs will be coming up soon, so pay attention to that.
What's really important to note with the LSPL teams is that they scrim with LPL. They scrim with LPL, they have third-party tournaments with LPL. So that's why we rate LSPL particularly high, and that's why we always go down the rabbit hole of any time a team in LSPL performs, it's like, oh, they're going to be great in LPL. And then,
Okay.
like, our hopes are either crushed or Snake is in
Okay,
fifth.
I
Or
did
Snake
this
happens.
once.
Or Snake happens.
I think I can.
did it once. Okay.
I think I can still put Snake being like decently a great team to my hopes being crushed. So I didn't want them to
Yeah.
fail, but I didn't want them to fit off the back of King's failures. So I'm just
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So
We just like swap.
I
Can we
think-
just enter an alternate reality where Snake and King are in opposite positions on the placements right now, please?
Okay, come on. Snake's doing well right now. That's nice.
Oh, they are.
It's good.
that's not
Yeah.
that's good.
No,
Team
I'm happy.
Snake is
I
not
really-
one of the 5 teams that we're scheduled to talk about.
But still, I want to just get off that topic quickly by saying I'm really happy for Flandre. Before I thought he was going to have the same spirit
Wonder played
situation.
really well
Yeah, he's playing really well.
this week.
And so what's the next team that we're supposed to talk about? Because I have
That
the
was it.
fish. That was it. Oh my god.
What about EDG? Did we talk about EDG?
No, we're not talking about
No.
EDG. They had
Wait, really?
really easy games this week.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Did we talk about King?
So EDG.
We talked about King. We talked about
Yeah,
how
we did.
Lonely sucks.
We didn't talk about King in detail, though.
Yeah, but I have scrims.
I
Okay.
talked too much. Yeah, King is just, they need to get better. They need to get good.
Well, we're the lead now.
I want to see. Okay, so wait, never mind. That's off topic. I'm just. I just really want
Do
to
we
see.
have any
versus
other
LGD.
closing things that we want to talk about? Like, does the chat need something from us? Do we have
other-
like an important point?
No,
The
I
other
think
big thing about OMG's victory over LGD in
The
Game
Vi
2 is
ban.
well, no. They pushed out minion waves. Like, did you guys notice? Like, they
Yeah, they
pushed
did.
out, like, they had minion control.
that
Wow.
team's working, man. They're
Talk
doing
about
stuff.
development.
I will say this: Flame played the best out of LGD the second game,
This is true.
and just because
Yeah.
they lost
Yeah.
when Flame was playing, I won't even count it against Flame.
I feel
Yeah,
really
actually,
bad
it's-
for Flame, actually, because I feel like he Acorn plays a game, he pisses off like one carry on the enemy team, the other carry gets like really mad, and here, have fun, Flame. Please enjoy Ari diving your tower 3 times.
Well, that said, that's also on the fault of LGD. They knew that was going to happen. There was no way that the first pick Ari wasn't going to happen. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm feeling lucky. I'll play Zed. Oh god, I don't want to play Zed anymore.
That should be a skill matchup now.
Pretty sure it's actually pretty decent for Zed unless Ari just decides to go hand.
Yeah, I
because
know,
Ultimate could follow her.
but it's yeah.
Oh
He just
gosh, she has
got
too
to
much
lane
safety.
and he burned like he burned his ability and then he like auto attacked him
It's
like
typically
4
like
times.
an
out of
okay
5.
matchup for Zed. Like that's the irony here.
I know.
Wayless just got punched in the vagina like repeatedly.
That's the thing though, that like so Wayless had one bad game, Cool had one bad game, and then they both played Ari.
And then the general conclusion is that Wayless sucks.
Wayless sucks
yeah.
imps a god.
I love the conclusion off this result. That seems
And
to be
before we-
that seems to be the general
But
thought.
because you have to think about like the way Wayless positioned to flank in team fights, like his Ari was
Ari
really
was
good in
really
fights.
You could say he made way
Yeah.
less mistakes.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, his Zed, whatever, whatever. But
At the
Cole
sign,
was mad. He could have been playing anything. Like that could have been
Yeah.
anyone. That could have been Faker in the mid lane. Cool was mad.
you wanted blood. All I gotta say, my last point at least, is that Nivea is God. Nivea has come back. It's back to
Anivia
us.
is the god of
I don't
LPL.
think Anivia's come back. I think he's just been played
He-
in 2 games
Anivia-
coincidentally. He's just not good.
No, it's been played
Anivia
pretty
won
well.
2 games this week, okay? Anivia is 2-0
Yeah.
this week.
She's
Yeah,
2 out
it
of
must
3.
mean she's just a great champion. All right.
It stops the Sion ultis. That's a good point.
Oh my god, that's genius.
Oh my
Anytime you
god,
pick a Sion,
Raz,
just take a
someone hire this
Nivea.
guy as a coach. What the heck?
Alright.
It's like, boys, we need the bird.
And then just run it top lane against Sion top. Oh my god,
but
you
WE's
can't dive it because it's got an egg.
Oh,
WE's
man.
picks against
Revolution has begun.
Gamty were so smart. Oh my god.
It was.
No, we're not
Oh.
talking about World League. We're not talking about Gamty. Close your statements.
Alright,
Raz.
that's my closing.
He gets a world
That's
lead.
it.
It's like, but world lead.
But I just want to
World
pretend that
League.
they're a relevant team, huh?
My closing statement. I think that's better actually. I think I just talked about the Nivea. Nivea is good enough for me.
Okay. Do you have any sponsors or anything like that, Raz?
Paravine, soon to be Liquid Legends. Yeah, that's about it.
Good. Drexen.
All right. Okay. So closing statements before shout out. I just want to say that, yeah, when people are watching LPL, I want to do another reminder since I have to remind people individually in different chats that are headache-inducing that you can't judge regular season results in the same method as you can other season or other regions just because of just culture and also because of just the sheer quantity of games. So contextually you have to look at them differently. It's not to say that results don't have weight because they do, but there's a lot of experimentation because of the amount of games and the culture of the region. Like that's why you saw LGD have areas where they played Acorn on carry champions and Flame on supportive champions and stuff like that. They're and lane swaps nonetheless. I mean, there's just a lot of shit that like obviously is clearly not the number one decision to win a game, but like build up for potential, like like just a stronger team in general, and like to build up to the playoffs and stuff like that. So I just wanted to get that out there because I think it's important. And otherwise, yeah, just shout outs to Esports 7 and stuff because I work there, and I'm done.
There
I'll
we
see.
go.
Done.
WE had really good picks against Gamty. Score, just because Gamty is a late game team. That's the only point I wanted to make. Woo. Okay. So, yeah. Thank you to the score for allowing me to write for them and stuff.
My favorite part about all of this is Kelsey gets into Reddit fights like every other weekend. I just want to make that statement first. So
I don't get into like
contextualize this.
intense Reddit fights.
She gets into
okay?
Reddit fights, and I think the best comment that a guy ever made to her was like, "I can't wait for you to fade into obscurity and become nothing." And then, like immediately following, they announced that she's working for the score, and just the irony of that pretty much like made it for me. I was like, "Oh."
That's great.
Reply to that years later and be like, what now?
There's that guy on Reddit. He knows. He just like he saw the announcement and he sees the articles. He's like, "Fuck." I had to take back my meaningless Reddit
Time,
comment.
time will tell if I actually avoid fading into obscurity, though. So yeah.
Wow, Kelsey, I love your esteem.
It's still on, yo.
Okay,
Let's go.
that's it. Everyone
I
wave,
just like
smile.
being in competition with
wave.
that guy.
Kelsey, wave. So what we're going to talk about, though, is we're going to talk about the most important one. It was OMG versus LGD. I know, I could see on your faces, you're like, which one was the most important?
I was actually like just hoping it was that set and nothing else. I was like braced in anticipation for like a full second. Just like, this better be OMG versus LGD.
For those of you who didn't see the set, it was split 1-1. OMG lost the first game, and then in spectacular fashion, Quay got really upset, and they won the second game. And what I particularly like about this set, just to kind of like recap it before you guys go into the gritty details, is the Ahri trade-offs. First game, Wayless gets Ahri, and Wayless just is a god. Of course, like, Imp went 17 and, like, won something ridiculous. Everyone's like, oh my god, Imp this carry. But, you know, I'm personally on the Wayless train. He was, like, in the back line blowing people up. Second game, OMG first pick Ahri, and you could just tell in lane. Cool was, like, up in Wayless's face. Like, I dare you to do something, motherfucker. Like, just come here.
Yeah. And then if anyone's watching the Chinese stream, I like to have both open.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Kelsey's a better person.
Oh, whoa.
No,
I
I'm just
watched
kidding.
the
It actually-
Chinese stream and the English stream.
Woo!
Just
Support.
probably like in some like massive computer room, just like with like two massive monitors on both sides.
Yeah,
of them.
everyone's like, you should watch LCK and LPL at the same time. I'll watch LCK later because I can use my two monitors to watch LPL now. So bad. Okay, but his face was like really intense. But at the end of the series during his interview, he looked ridiculously happy. So
You're
I
talking
guess
about
that's
Cool.
that. Yeah, I'm talking about Cool.
Okay. Which one's better?
I want to say
Okay, if everything went according to plan, this should be live. We should be trying to talk. It's not episode 31. I think it's like episode 33, but I'm too lazy to change that number. So here we are. Again, I'm going to be your host for Oscar. My panelists are going to be Raz underneath me, Drexen next to him, and then Kelsey Moser on the far side over there. Did anyone do a tweet? Did we tweet?
no. I was just about to say that.
Okay.
But,
Drexen?
okay. There's one. There's one. Yeah.
There's
Oh,
one?
dude.
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
So today's structure, I want to talk about primarily 5 teams. I know you guys wanted to talk a little bit about World Elite, but I'm like, who really cares? We're going to talk about 5 teams. We're going to talk about OMG, LGD, Invictus
care.
Gaming, no, and King.
We still care.
I had to
Starhorn.
watch their game, so I care.
No. We're going to talk about 5 teams, OMG, LGD, Starhorn, Royal Club, IG, and King. And the reason why I want to talk about these teams in particular is identity, upsets, and standings. Because I feel like this week's games kind of gave us a more overall clearer picture of kind of where the middle of the standings are. Because it's always been like EDG, OMG, LG. Like, that's, everyone's fine on that, we're solid. But then as soon as you start getting to
Really?
fourth,
They gave us a clearer picture because I'm more confused than I've ever been.
they gave us the 4th place spot. People be like, oh, okay, it's Snake. And then as soon as you get into 5th, you're like, am I flipping a coin? Does everyone pick a number? Are we taking turns?
No, I want Proskrin to explain how the standings are clear now.
Okay, just a little bit more. I actually think that I don't even know. I want to put IG there, but I'm just like, does Starhorn want to be there? Does IG want to be there? Does LGD want to be there?
We gotta hit up the teams and be like, where do you guys want to be rated? Give us that sick Chinese money, son.
Okay.
I
First,
think they get the freedom to do that. To really just like, Azir is one thing, and you're probably not gonna see him next patch either anyway. So it's like, yeah. So-
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's not only in the mid lane. I mean, obviously, it's no surprise that LGD stopped playing Callista and
Oh,
are now
yeah.
playing Graves. Of course, Uzi I picked Callista the second game, but I actually really like Graves as an answer to Callista.
Yeah, me too. Oh my god, dude. And also, not to mention that this also shows like how Uzi is like super flaky in the regular season. It's like something that people don't see when he just goes to Worlds and performs every single game.
Well, it's
Because,
not
like-
just. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Oh no. I mean, I don't really have too much to say after that. It's just the fact that like he can slip around in like early, like he got crushed in the first game. Like Imp just like fucking juggernauted all over him. I mean, it was, I don't know, man. It just shows like he did really good in the second game, but in the first game it was like, what are you doing with your life? Please, guy.
The other thing is that OMG does not know how to peel for their AD carry for the most part. Like, I mean, they had comps that peeled for Sand, but they were like really, really straightforward. Protect the AD carry comps when Sand got peeled. You know what I mean?
They ran Maokai support.
Yeah, but that was again, obviously that's the thing. Like, that's the thing they ran this second game. The first game, they in theory had better peel. Like, they had Maokai top lane, they had Go, they had a Azir, but there was like not any peel for UZI at all the second game. It was like, okay.
Yeah, but the second game was the game that Uzi did
I mean,
well.
first game, excuse me.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, there was not, like, they didn't peel for him well in fights, is what I'm saying. So I want to, like, and UZI is used to having every single peel in the game at his disposal, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was just weird on UZI. Like,
You think that was an accident?
people are like, Cool was so good the first game, you know, if Leveling and UZI had just stepped
Wait,
up.
people
it's like,
actually
are you
thought that
serious?
Cool was good? He ran
Yeah,
on like
because he-
0-0 for like
Because
45 minutes of that game.
No, this is the thing. Because he out-farmed Wayless in lane, despite Wayless getting 3-0, people like thought that Cool still played really well the first game.
Okay, let's do a little bit math. Let's do some math. I love math. Okay. For every kill that you have in League of Legends, it equates to between 12 to 15 CS. So unless you have, at that point, like a 40 CS lead on someone who has 30 kills...
Yeah, but the point is that like he should be getting bullied or whatever. You know what I mean? But the thing is
on
it doesn't. I know it does.
Ari versus Azir doesn't really work well for Ari. I mean, she can kind of do it, especially now because she has more movement speed, so she can kind of dodge around the sand soldiers.
It doesn't
but initially,
matter.
it's like,
I'm saying that this is why people think that he played well. Like,
oh, because he had a winning matchup and he didn't do anything for 45 minutes.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I do think that. So I'm not saying that Cool is like completely awful as a player. Obviously, I still think he's right now posting games that make him look like the best mid laner in China, but his Azir was not. His Azir was not good.
It just comes down to a lot of players kind of pulling out champions in which they haven't shown much comfort on. And you're seeing a lot. You're seeing it a lot. And I guess they have the ability to do that based on how many games there are in the split, especially with top tier teams where they just feel like, well, we've given ourselves a comfortable lead out of the pack. They've seen the competition, so
Honestly, I want to. Damn. During the set, I want to say it was LGD. Because I felt like LGD were smarter, and I think for the most part their lane matchups are pretty good. And for the most part, like OMG's like specialty is the fact that they can just kind of, you know, we said it before, just brute force things. But now that LGD kind of has the power to combat that, and also the strategical edge, I think that LGD was better. I think LGD was a lot more clever too. Like it looked like OMG was just providing this like vending machine of gold to Wayless because of the way they just like fed him 3 kills at 7 minutes. But a lot of it was actually just because like of how smart their deep warding was and how well they utilized their deep warding early on in that game. And I think it's like little stuff like that to get an edge over teams. It just shows that they're just like really intelligent. So overall, I do think that LGD played better in this set.
The one thing that I want to do as like devil's advocate, because I know that Kelsey and I were talking about LGD's warding, and I agree there was a very clever deep ward. I'm not even going to give you clever. There was a pink ward.
There was a ward. OMG had no wards. There's like we're not even saying
No, but
clever.
they
it's
did have wards. They had them in the river.
Not-
My only thing is that Ari is so broken on this patch.
Well,
like,
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but no, I don't even think. Did North
But
America
Corrin still
play
couldn't-
her on this patch?
couldn't
I know
win a game.
EU did.
NA did.
Yeah.
A few times.
So that's like why I'm a little bit hesitant, because it's no, like, to me it's no surprise that Ari completely destroyed both games.
Hmm.
Well, if Wayless is a good Ari, then we also just, you know, kind of tag that on OMG's drafting? I mean, I don't know.
that's the other thing. Like people were talking about, oh, Cool was just so good both games, but his Azir's
Was
team
awful.
fighting was not good. Like
Mhm.
that was the other thing. His ult actually threw people